What is your thinking on economic reform?
Well, you're absolutely right, John, to point to the extraordinary spikes in our debt to GDP ratio approaching 100%. I think it's around about 95% now. But I mean, the real number to focus on is the interest that we're paying on that debt.
Yes.
And part of the problem is, of course, that with historically low interest rates from the global financial crisis onwards, really up until, I suppose, 2, 3, 4 years ago, it was possible to sort of, just print money and think that we could get away with it. It wasn't just the hard left that thought that the magic money tree exists. It's actually the Tory party over 14 years or I should say the Bank of England kept printing money as if there were a magic money tree. And we haven't really seen, I think, in peacetime, these sorts of spikes in national debt. We saw extraordinary levels of sovereign indebtedness after the Napoleonic Wars in the 19th century, from which we recovered thanks to the Industrial Revolution. We saw it too, of course, in the post-war period, just after the Second World War. We managed to get that under control. But there were clear, exogenous shocks that led to that indebtedness. That's, to some extent, the global financial crisis was a shock of that kind. But really, there isn't much excuse for what the UD party has unleashed on us in terms of increasing that indebtedness. So the challenge for us now, and indeed it's not just a challenge for Reform UK, it's a challenge for any party that wants to get ready for government or to govern competently, to grapple with this. And it's a very difficult thing to communicate to the electorate. And I think the key challenge for us is, first of all, rather than just to sort of promise tax cuts that we just can't really deliver or can't afford, is to really just get the spending under control. We've got our interest payments are well north of 100 billion a year, and if that gets out of control, then we enter into, in effect, a doom loop, a kind of debt spiral from which it will be almost impossible to recover without going deep into not just a recession, I think, in fact, an economic depression. So our challenge as a new party, as a party that is relatively unknown, that is sort of unfamiliar to the bond markets as well as the electorate, is to project credibility, to project seriousness, not to promise the goodie bags that were promised to us by the Uni Party over the last 25 years. And that means being honest about the electorate and making sure that the policy shop window that we put forward is properly integrated, properly costed. But I think we can do it. And one of the things about Britain, for all of the malaise that we're enduring at the moment, is that we have extraordinary human capital. We have some of the best universities in the world. We have some of the best inventors in the world. We have extraordinary R&D all across many, many different sectors. We have I think 3 or 4 of the top 10 universities in the world, nearly, I think, 7 or 8 in the top 50. So there's a lot that we do extremely well. The City of London, of course, is still, for all of the damage that's been done to it over recent years, one of the 2 or 3 great financial capitals of the world. And so the challenge is to unleash that human capital and to focus on what we do well, and to recover a sense of national pride. Because I think it's easy to talk about the numbers, it's easy to obsess about GDP. In fact, one of the challenges for us now is to try to convey the idea that it's not national flourishing is not just about GDP. It's not just about making sure that line goes up. In fact, one of the ways of making the line go up is just importing lots and lots and lots of people at a kind of scale and speed that we haven't really been able to cope with. And it's sure the pie gets a little bit bigger, but the per capita prosperity, per capita productivity has tanked and stagnated. And And so the challenge is to not just think of national flourishing in crudely economic terms, as important as those are, but to try to recover that sense of a national story and a national confidence, a sense of a kind of a commitment to the future, a belief in ourselves. And we've lost that self-belief as a nation. And I think if we can't recover that, then the sort of material prosperity is just is not going to flow.